All right, y'all. Today we got some free agency / trade discussions going on. This is kind of my prediction video for what's going to happen after the lockout because at the time of this video, MLB is still very deep into a lockout, unfortunately. And y'all have heard my thoughts on that already. I made a whole podcast episode just about that. But if you haven't, I'll have the link to that below as well as on the iCard on the screen. And I wanted to make this video just because it's something to talk about, but there will be high levels of anticipation exiting the lockout. There are some rumors that maybe like everything's just going to slow down completely, and it all just depends on when free agency, or rather the lockout, will end. So first thing I want to look at is Matt Olsen. This was from December 1st, talking about he could potentially be traded to the Rangers, which would cover the first base spot and probably boot off Nathaniel Lowe unless they kept him as a backup. But regardless, that was the big one. Of course, Freddie Freeman is the guy right now for first baseman, but I highly, highly doubt he leaves Atlanta unless he wants to come save another franchise, come save the Rangers a little bit. But Matt Olsen is someone they would have to trade for. Obviously, two-time Gold Glover, big-time power hitter, and he's still just 28 years old. Probably would get somewhere around like a 5-ish year deal. Maybe something like Semien got, 6-7 years. It just really depends. But there are a handful of infield prospects coming up for the Rangers soon, as you can see here. Foscue, Wenzel, Duran, and Smith. And, of course, Duran they just got from the Yankees this past season. Then, of course, like I mentioned, Nathaniel Lowe, who has club control through 2026, which is interesting. But, of course, if the A's trade Olsen, they're going to want something back. So that could just be a straight-up Olsen for Lowe plus maybe like a pitching prospect or something. And I think they should try to get him, honestly. If you really want to make your infield the best, which they're right on the cusp already, have one of the best middle infield combos in all of MLB, then you get a first baseman, you let Young play third base, which is what I talked about in my video yesterday, and then get some guys in the outfield, which we will be talking about here today as well. Moving on, though, I wanted to talk about the pitching side because that is the thing they do have to do if they want to really compete. You can't just have good offense. So one of the biggest recent rumors is that the Rangers want to get Luis Castillo or Sonny Gray. This was also from December 1st. And I haven't heard much develop from this apart from the John Morosi tweet talking about that they want to get guys like Castillo or Gray or Tyler Mahle. I think I probably butchered that. I'm sorry. So those are all great, and I think those would all have to be trades as well. But those are definitely three guys in the core of Cincinnati's rotation, and they're still competitive, I believe. So we'll see how that ends up going, but two solid options for the team. Moving on, two more guys that I would love the team to get either of: Nick Castellanos and Seiya Suzuki, of course, from Japan. I don't think he's been posted yet in the international signing thing because of the lockout, but once it ends, he should get posted and open up the chance for teams to sign him. Now, him and Castellanos are about the same age, both outfielders, and of course, Nick Castellanos just had a huge season. I believe this article mentioned it. Yeah, 309 last season, 939 OPS, 34 home runs, and 100 RBI. I mean, very, very healthy as well. 150 games in 5 of his last 9 seasons, or rather 5 of his 9 total seasons. And apart from COVID, of course, doesn't really count. This was a Mark Feinsand tweet that said he wants about 7 or 8 years, so something like they gave Semien once again. Would probably be roughly the same price as well for a prime outfielder. I think, turns 30 in March, so pretty much almost the exact same situation as Semien. That would be a very, very good lineup if you have Semien, Seager, and Castellanos. And they mentioned that in here, kind of a 1-2-3 punch. Very good stuff. And that's not even including guys like Young if he plays well, Huff if he gets a shot next year, all kinds of stuff. So that could be another big option. And then, of course, Suzuki, whose numbers we'll take a look at here. 27 years old, a little younger than Castellanos, but he has pretty much the same kind of numbers, you know. He has almost 200 home runs in his career so far. The 309 batting average across it, driving in 600. And he's got a pretty decent walk to strikeout rate as well. So that's always good. But he's been, I'm not sure fully how Japan works, but I guess there's different leagues here, Western League and Central League, so maybe traded between teams or something. I'm not entirely sure how that works. But another great option for the team obviously would be a lot cheaper than Castellanos, and the Rangers are known to go after those big international signings. They were in on guys like Ohtani, and of course they were the team that got you Darvish, so they're no stranger to any of that. And lastly, I wanted to take a look at a guy who's been very much rumored to be on the team, and he's in my thumbnail for crying out loud. It's Clayton Kershaw. We won't know about this until, this is from December 10th by Chris, who is a great reporter. You guys should go follow him on Twitter. But we won't know about this till after the lockout. And I think it's a pretty clear fit if he is willing to do it. There were also the reports that Corey Seager was trying to actively recruit him to the team. Like, hey, we just won a ring in LA. You want to, like, do it again, but this time in your hometown? Like, that'd be cool. So he still got it, honestly. He's been criticized a lot. But if he can stay healthy, he can be a solid starter. I guess he would, by default, have to be the number one based on the rest of the rotation. So really that's one of the last things they have to bolster is that rotation. Otherwise, I think the team is in fairly good shape. You know, you get another pitcher from the Reds, you get Kershaw, you get Castellanos or Suzuki, and Olsen's like, that's a bit of a dream, but they are interested in him. You get any combination of these guys, and the Rangers go from 100 losses to maybe a wild card, and I'm serious if they do this. Because despite what many believe, the bullpen's actually not awful. A lot of it was because of injuries, and a lot of it was because of guys going back and forth between starting and bullpen. But they're going to get Jonathan Hernandez back. They're going to get Jose Leclerc back. There's still a couple guys on the market that they could sign, like Kenley Jansen, who I know is older, but one of the best closers of all time statistically. So they are in better shape than people think, but not yet. They have to make at least like two or three of these moves, and then they'll be in great shape. So that's about it for this video. I know it was a little rambly, but I wanted to cover these big 4 or 5 moves that the team could make in order to really bolster the lineup and the bullpen and the rotation. So my predictions, though, I think they're going to get Luis Castillo. I think they're going to get Suzuki, and I think they're going to get Kershaw. So that's kind of my semi-optimistic / realistic prediction. So hopefully that happens, but that's my official prediction. Let me know once again what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate y'all watching, and I'm hoping this lockout ends soon, but until then we're waiting, and I will talk to y'all later.